Education is happening in Buffalo. Science, nutrition, math, even language arts. These are some of the subjects that Nardin Academy students will be able to learn about at the newest addition to their school. News 4's Lauren Hall is live at the high school's new learning garden this morning with much more for us. Lauren?
Good morning, Brittany. This is in a big initiative here at Nardin called Sustainable Nardin. It started 3 years ago when the chef in the dining hall turned her menu into a scratch menu. So it's a scratch cook kitchen now, meaning that all of the meals she prepares for the students here at school are made from scratch. Now that it's in its third year, the teachers, like science teacher Nika Labita joining us this morning, are bringing this initiative into their classroom with project-based learning. Explain an example of the project that you do in your 7th grade science class that has to be involved in the Sustainable Nardin initiative.
Sure. With my 7th grade students, we raise monarch caterpillars and watch them go through the metamorphosis into a butterfly. We have the pollinator garden opposite the learning garden that's been in establishment for a little bit longer, and the boys can actually explain how we use the garden to raise the caterpillars.
So we have Zach and Liam with us right now. First of all, who is your little guy right here?
His name is Eichel.
Eichel the caterpillar. Wonder who that's named after. How old is he? Do you know?
He's like 2 weeks old.
And why did you want him to be your caterpillar? You get to pick, right?
Yeah, he just seemed a little bigger than the others, and turns out he did eat a lot more than the other ones.
He's looking pretty healthy for sure. What is the next stage of his life? How are you guys, well, first of all, how are you caring for him? You feed him every day?
Yeah, every day we get like new leaves from the garden and put it in the little thing so he can eat every day.
What does he live in?
He lives in these little containers with air holes so he can breathe, and we just put new food in every day.
And is this the kind of leaf that he eats?
Yeah, he eats milkweed that we get out of the garden. We pick leaves off of the plant.
How many milkweed leaves does it take to satisfy Eichel's appetite every day?
We usually just get one, but sometimes we get two if it's like over the weekend.
And about how much longer will he be in this stage, and what comes next? Do you know?
For like another less than a week, a few days until he turns into chrysalis, and then he'll turn to a butterfly.
And then what happens?
He flies away, I guess, and he might end up flying down to Mexico for the winter.
So do you have a big release party when they're all grown and coming out of their chrysalises?
We do.
Is that what it is, chrysalis?
It is, yeah. We get together with the kindergartners. They're paired up with a kindergartner to share the experience with, and we'll release the butterflies. Before we release them, we'll tag them with a tag that we get from the University of Kansas, and they will track the migration of the butterflies. So if any of our butterflies are ever recaptured or found down in Mexico where they winter, we would find out about it.
And they get to Mexico without even knowing the way. They just know how to get there. It's amazing.
That's right. It's an instinct.
From Nardin Academy right down to Mexico, it's all part of Sustainable Nardin. You mentioned the kindergartners are involved in this project as well. Coming up at 8:40 here on this W23, we're going to meet one of those kindergartners and find out her favorite part of the outdoor learning experience here at Nardin. For now, reporting live in Buffalo, Lauren Hall, News 4 Wake Up.
Thank you, Lauren. That's a great learning experience for the kids. Education is happening in Buffalo, and protecting the environment is becoming more and more important to young people. And the students at Nardin Academy in Buffalo have a new way to learn about it. News 4's Lauren Hall is live there now and bringing us a look at their new learning garden.
Good morning to you, Brittany, from the brand learning garden, which has just been planted here at Nardin Academy in the Elmwood Village. Everything that you see here, from the tomatoes to the kale to the chard to the flowers, was all planted by students, and most of the things will also be used right in the classroom or even on the menu in the dining hall here at Nardin. Joining us now is Diana Maxwell. She's one of the kindergarten teachers here, and also a couple of her students. Diana, how do you incorporate the learning garden into your classroom here?
We're very fortunate to work with a green coordinator, Miss C, who comes right into our classroom. So she brings in the fun, and she brings the kids outside. So the kids are able to plant things outside, get their hands dirty, work with worms. This Friday we're using a cooking cart to make applesauce. So we do a lot to enhance our science curriculum using what is right outside of our classroom, literally.
And one of the biggest things that the kindergartners work on is utilizing all of their senses when they're out here, right?
Yes, part of our curriculum is to teach the 5 senses to the kids. So having this available to us, they're able to see things, smell things, and we can talk about them inside and outside of the classroom.
We have a couple of your students with us right now, too. Who do we have here?
Maggie McLaughlin.
We have Maggie, and Maggie, who else? Who's with you?
Violet Zabreski.
And we know that you girls love gardening, right? You love coming out in the learning garden. What are some of the senses that you use when you're out here, Maggie?
I use my seeing and my touching and my smelling.
What do you smell when you're out in the garden?
Some flowers.
What do they smell like?
Well, sometimes they smell like pollen and stuff.
That's a pretty specific scent there. And Violet, you said that you like to use your sense of touch when you come to the garden, right? What do you like to touch?
I like to touch inside the milkweed. It kind of feels like French bread, so I like to touch it.
And milkweed is that leafy green, and that's what the caterpillars eat, right? You have a caterpillar in your classroom. Tell us about the caterpillar.
One's big, one's a little bit small, and one has heads on both sides.
And we were talking about this before. The caterpillars live in a special place in your classroom, right? What's that special place called? Who knows it?
Habitat.
A habitat. What's a habitat?
A habitat where they live.
That's right. And that's a word that you really wanted to make sure your students know, right, Diana?
Yes, we use big words, but the more that we repeat it and work with the words, the better that they are to understand it. So we're bringing the outside classroom into the inside and vice versa, and it's really exciting for them.
Earlier this hour here on the CW23, we met some of the 7th grade students who were helping to raise those monarch caterpillars, and the kindergartners have a big role in when they are grown into butterflies and when they're released, right?
Yes, we'll be working with the 7th graders. So the kindergarten students will pair up every Friday with the 7th grade students. We'll participate in some literacy and science activities with them. And then eventually, as we watch them change and grow, we'll release them together outside in the garden, which is really exciting for everyone.
It's certainly been a beautiful fall for gardening and for having experiences, learning experiences outdoors here at Nardin Academy. This morning, we are live in the brand new learning garden. If you drive by the school on Cleveland Drive in the Elmwood Village, you will notice the sunflowers and notice the foliage, and now you hopefully will know a little bit more about it. For now, reporting live in Buffalo, Lauren Hall, News 4 Wake Up.
Thank you, Lauren, for bringing us that. Lovely to see how they're learning so much at such a young age.